These have been a difficult 6 weeks or so for South Africa. There's been appalling violence on the platinum mines, and there's been a strike which has now spread to the gold mining sector. Investors are looking on with some concern at the situation there. I'm joined by Helen Zille, the Premier of the Western Cape and leader of South Africa's opposition Democratic Alliance. Premier, what is your message to investors now in the wake of the last 6 weeks?
The last 6 weeks have been difficult, and we have got a commission of inquiry into the causes of the tragedy that happened at Marikana. I'm sure that we've learnt a lot of the lessons. I believe that we must use this opportunity to reform the labour laws, to deal with the migrant labour system very particularly, and the shanty towns that have sprung up around the mines where many of the miners live. We must particularly allow minority unions into the bargaining chamber. And I think the consequences that the unions and the workers will feel, as well as the employers in the platinum mines, will lead to a labour dispensation that will be more sustainable and more realistic.
That is a heartening view, although some of course say that actually what this saga tells us is that the metaphorical and literal bedrock of South Africa's economy in the last 100+ years is over, and that this is a line in the sand for the mining industry.
Well, the mining industry has contributed a lower and lower percentage of our GDP for a long time. Gold is about 10%, platinum about 9%. It's still a very large component and a very important component, but we've been diversifying South Africa's economy very quickly, and that will pick up momentum, especially as investments into Africa look at all of our different sectors to drive and to fuel them. And that really can give a new springboard for our manufacturing sector as Africa grows and demands consumer goods. And so a diversification of our economy is a good thing, but I have no doubt that mining will stabilise and will still be the bedrock, although not the entire foundation, which is important.
One of the disappointments of the years since the end of apartheid is the relatively sluggish rate of growth in the economy. What is your solution to the difficulties that South Africa's economy has faced?
South Africa's economy is held back by relatively low productivity in comparison with remuneration, and by a very heavy regulatory burden that doesn't befit a growing, developing economy. And so the solution is to reform the labour laws very significantly, to ease the red tape and regulatory burden, make it much easier to invest, ensure policy certainty so that investors know that their investments are safe and secure, to ensure corruption-free good governance in which the state plays the role that it should, and in which there's recognition that business drives growth and jobs, and that we must make it easier to invest and do business. That is what we have to get right.
Finally, a political question. Your rival, the ANC, straddles the state like a colossus. It not only controls, obviously, the levers of political power, but it increasingly controls broader elements of the state. Many of its fellow liberation movements have stayed in power for decades. Will the South African story be any different?
The South African story will be very different. The ANC is deeply divided. I think it only looks like a colossus to people on the outside. But the state is captured by a tiny component of the ANC, creating a dynamic of insiders and outsiders. And the outsiders, even within the ANC, are very dissatisfied and growing. And a large number of them understand the problems in exactly the same way as the opposition does. So I have no doubt that in the next 5 to 7 years, the ANC will disintegrate, and a new political centre will come together, a non-racial political centre that is committed to the success of our democracy, the independence of our state institutions, and all the factors that lead to rapid economic growth and job creation, and that we can have that transition in peaceful and growing terms, so that we ensure that power changes hands through the ballot box, and so that policies are put in place that will drive our economic growth and create jobs, especially for young people. I'm very confident about that, and the realignment of politics will pave the way for that.
Helen Zille, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.